Hello, this is Irene Ketikidi from jamplay.com. Welcome to my live course. This is week 1, first week of this rhythm and riffs course. And today is going to be a modern rock riff for you guys. I'm going to just start by playing it right away with the backing track, full speed. And then let's break it down and talk about it a bit. So, let's hear it. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed it. This is quite rocky, as you noticed. This is more in the likes of Van Halen or Mr. Big, that type of rhythm playing, if you want to think about it. So it's kind of modern rock / metal, but I wouldn't really say it's such a really heavy riff. I think more or less it's based on some blues rock ideas. Now, what I'm going to do, because this is quite a long one, I'm just going to break it down in 2 bars each, because a lot of things are repeating anyway. And before we get started, remember we're going to need quite a bit of distortion on our tone for this, for sustain, for the palm muted notes, for the pinched harmonics, tapping, all that type of stuff. We'll need some sustain from that. And also it's the authentic tone. If you think about it, they did use quite a lot of distortion for that. Or maybe overdrive, if you have an overdrive pedal and you want to pair it up with your drive channel, your amp, to balance those 2 out. Yeah, that could also work. Now, let me jump into bar 1, and this is part A of the riff, if you like. This features some palm muting and some double stops. Now, palm muting, you probably know about that. It's when you rest your back of the hands, of the right hand, right on the bridge. Very lightly, like right on where the string touches the bridge, not further in or out. So we want to hear this sort of boomy tone. Not that, definitely not that. And what we do is we're going to concentrate on downstrokes for this one, just because the feel of it and the groove of it is mostly in 8th notes, and it wants to drive you through the drum beat. We're going to use downstrokes. So what's happening here is we're alternating between downstrokes and double stops on a muted note and a double stop. I'm sorry. So what is a double stop? A double stop is, as the word suggests, 2 notes played together, like a little chord. And I think I'm going to start by showing those actually. You look at bar 1, then we've got fret 9 on both D and G strings. Same thing on fret 7. Then bar 2, we've got a different one. This is fret 7 and 6. These are like an E power chord inverted. This is the implied root. A D power chord. Again, the implied root. And this is an A major triad. This is the implied root on the top. It's a little different. A major. And it's got a little fill. I'm going to show that in a bit. Now, put your wrist on this side. So this is what this does. It goes between the muted note and then the strumming position for the double stop. It kind of does that. So it's like... That's not the rhythm, but that's what's happening. I'm putting down my arm for the muted notes, up for the strumming to get the open tone. And how does it work? We've got 8th notes. It goes... That's bar 1 and a little bit further. These are 8th notes, so I'll just count myself in. It's 3, 4... I switched between the D and the E, or E and D. Now, what am I doing on D? I'm just doing a little vibrato here because it sounds cool and I've got enough time to do it. The note is on the upstroke, or, well, upbeat actually. It's not an upstroke. Everything is a downstroke here. It's on the upbeat of the last beat in bar 1. So it comes in 4 ends and I want to accent that a little bit, so I'm just going to vibrate it. I use fingers 3 and 4 for that. I think it works great. So I'll do it again. 3, 4. And this is where I'm going to bar 2. Bar 2 has a bit more of D, the ones in fret 7, and then I've got a little fill. This is a chord fill, I like to think about it. So we've got a D major, or D triad, D major triad. And I'm adding one note next to it. So I'm going from fret 6 to 7 on the G string with a hammer. And these are going to be fingers 2 and 4. Why? Because the third finger is busy on the bottom string, which is ringing out. So it goes like... So I've got pick, pick, hammer, pick, pick. And this is our little A major chord fill. I'm going to play the whole thing, bars 1 and 2. So hopefully all you would need to be concentrating is the number of double stops and muted notes. The way it goes is 1 double stop, 2 muted notes, 1 double stop, 1 muted note, 1 double stop, again 1 muted note. It's kind of the same pattern going on. We'll see it again later on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I could actually do that with a metronome, so hang on, let me pull this up. Metronome, do it at 70. I think 70 is a good speed. The original one is 150, so let's try 70. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little faster than what I showed with the foot, so perhaps we could drop it to 60 if you like. We'll see. Say, I'll put it 65. Don't want it to be too slow and lose the groove completely. So, yeah, let me do it one more time at 65. So, 3, 4. And that's the one. Shut this down. Now, next thing. Actually, before I go to the next thing, which is bars 3 and 4, why don't we do bars 5 and 6, which is kind of the same thing, really. But if you look at bar 5, it's exactly the same thing. So, with the vibrato. And then I've got a slight change in the fill in bar 6. So, if we look at at beats 3 and 4 of that bar 6, there's what? Starts out similar, so it still has the A triad, A major triad, notes A and C sharp, if you like. And then I'm doing again that fill with the 6 to 7 fret on the G string with a... But instead of going back to spell, you know, the chord, if you like, I'm just sliding up to a different chord and vibrating. Because again, it sounds cool. And this one, by the way, is what? This is G power chord. You think about the root, it's implied up here. But I'm just playing these 2 notes. We're in strings D and G, if you've noticed, most of the time for the double stops, actually all the time so far. So that goes So it's 3 and 4. It's quite symmetric. I want to show the whole thing, or maybe I'll just show a few repeats of that last fill and then put it in together with the original riff, because everything else is exactly the same. So bars 5 and 6 are the same with 1 and 2 except that last fill. So let's play that last fill separately. So 1, 2, 1, 2, whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 3, 4. And that's it. We've essentially covered 4 bars already. And let's see. Let's go back to bars 2 and no, not 2, 3 and 4. By the way, if you have any questions, you can already start asking questions in the chat. I'll collect everything and answer at the end of the lesson. So you can, in the meantime, so that you don't forget what you wanted to ask afterwards. Yeah. I'm gonna go to bar 3. What's happening in bar 3? All this time we were in an environment of an E. So even though we were playing some double stops on top, E was our tonic center, let's say. So it was based around E. Now it's going to G. You can think of it from the major shape and get rid of some notes, or you can think of it like I like to think of it, like the A major triad we had before, just move 2 frets down, or a whole tone down. And that's now what? This is frets 5 and 4 on the D and G strings. But this time I'm just gonna add the low root because it sounds cool and big, taking the riff somewhere else, so. Careful though, I'm muting the A string. I'm not gonna go and play anything else. I just need these 3 notes. And I'm also muting the B and E strings, the high ones. That's kind of easy to happen actually, because this finger is lightly touching everything else already. It's like a bar that never happens. So, 8th notes here again, downstrokes again, and what's happening? I'll show bar 3 slow, so it's 3, 4. That's until it jumps to the next chord. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So one more time, 3, 4. You see again, I'm doing this sort of open position, closed position, open, closed, or strumming, lead, whatever you want to call it. I've got a great lesson on that, my full jam play course, by the way, which is called Melodic Secrets of Rock Guitar. So you can check that out if you want more info. We'll be covering the basics of that, but there's a lot more stuff to dig in. Yeah, so end of bar 3, I've got a D5 chord here, and I'm playing it. That's kind of standard. It's frets 5, 7, 7 on A, D, and G strings. So again, I'm playing with a downstroke. Doesn't matter that it's on the upbeat, we're accenting everything with downstrokes here to keep the flow. And let me just go to bar 4 as well. This is a little, if you look at it, the first time I'm putting down and up strokes as well. These are indicative. I mean, you can variate them, but essentially I don't want you to play downstrokes there for every note, just because you listen to the it kind of sits down because it feels like a little ending of of part A of the riff, let's say, before it repeats. So it's kind of going like it's driving through, but then it kind of sits, and it's a good change to apply with a pick to make it sound like that. So it goes. So what's that? If I count it in, it's going to be 3, 4, and. again, you want to let those ring. I've notated that. Let me play these two bars together so you see how it fits in. By the way, that fill here is, if you think of your D power chord, all you gotta do is just press down that first finger for a whole bar. And that gives you the extra A and E notes on the E and B strings, which is what we want because the fill is. But I'm already pressing those, so. Okay, so let me play these two bars with the click straight away. 3, 4. Actually, I realized I just played a lot more. Hang on, let me do bars 3 and 4, concentrate, play it right this time. Let's go. 3, 4. One more time. 3, 4. Okay, so that's it. These are again 8th notes, and pay attention to that last muted note, that G, before I jump to the D. It prepares it to come there. Let me move on to, or you know what? I'll just play everything until now. Why don't I do that? Because then the last bars 7 and 8, there's a bit of a technical fill there, so I don't want to leave everything until then. Let me just play everything from the top so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we've got, and I'm moving on to bars 7 and 8. You kind of know bar 7. This is what I played a variation of that by mistake actually before when I played the long version. So this is what it is now. I'm just adding what I did in A before. I'm gonna repeat for G now. And what does that mean? I'm on frets 5 and 4 on the D and G strings, and I'm just adding fret 5 on the G string with a hammer. So, but still in this one keeping down the low root. How's the rhythm though? It goes 3, 4. And the muted note, 3, 4. Before I change to the next chord. So essentially it's like the previous one, but I'm just putting in a little bit of a, just like an embellishment if you like. One more time, 3, 4. And this time I'm gonna go to an A chord instead of a D chord. I went to a D before. This is an alternate ending. It goes to an A. You can play an A major or an A5. They both work. I've notated the A5 just because it's easier. Although most probably whatever you play, you're going to go with this fingering. So whether you play that high C sharp or not, that's down to your day, I guess. Again, you want to go to that with a downstroke. So the whole thing, 3, 4. One One more time, let me get that muted note properly. So 3, 4. And that was beat 4 end of bar 7. Now bar 8 has the first fill we're gonna see, and this is not strange, this is quite typical actually, because you will see that in rock. A lot of the times in this style there was so many fills in between the rhythm, the basic groove, and it's important to be able to keep those in time so that you don't lose, you know, your landing point. This is great practice, by the way, to actually use your lead ideas or whatever you've been practicing into a rhythm environment. Just a repetitive riff like that, simple stuff, nothing crazy, and create some space for your melodies in there to make them groove, to figure out how they fit into that amount of time. So for example, here we've got 1 bar. We're starting on beat 1 end. If you look at it, also says rake. This is where we're going to start from. It starts on beat 1 end, and then it goes on for the rest of the bar before it lands somewhere else to part B of the riff. We'll see that in a bit. And what's happening here? Let me show it slow. So it's... That's what it is now. It's a rake. What's a rake? It's like imagining that I'm playing an invisible chord on top of that, which is actually before that note that I'm going to land at. And probably you want to be looking at 2 strings below, so no more than that. I mean, you could, but depends. The muting all happens from here, otherwise you get an actual chord, which is not very pleasant. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But right now we don't want that. We want this muted. What's that then? I've got these 2 fingers muting these low strings to get this percussive tone to land onto that D note on the B string. Whoa. I meant to do this as a pinched harmonic. So now the fingering depends. I can't remember how I played it on the full speed. I might have played it with the second or the first finger. It's up to you, whichever finger feels stronger. Sometimes this one, especially in those frets, it tends to, I don't know, scratch off a bit awkwardly. So maybe you can try the second. But important bit is that you want to do, whether it's going to be up or down, we want a semitone bend here. So it's going to be a C sharp to a D and back to a C. Is it going to be second or first finger? I think it's probably easiest with a second, because you've got your index on top here to mute, to keep the muting going on. So, and to get ready for the next part of the lick. So. Whether again it's going to be a semi-harmonic or full pinched harmonic depends on your taste. If you want to go for a full harmonic, definitely angle your thumb a bit more to get ahead of the pick. So you might need some more drive as well. Or this is almost a harmonic, it's not 100%. So again, that's another one. I'm just going to move on to the next bit, because this is a bit rough to show slow separately, these 2 notes. It kind of feels to me like a whole idea. So I've got frets 2 and 4 on the G string, and then frets 2 and 4 on the D string. And I'm also going to use the open string. So these would be the notes. It's the same pattern actually. I'm starting 2, 4. I'm returning 2, 4, 2. It's actually quite challenging to do slow. I'm using fingers 1 and 4 just because it helps me with the muting. You can try that. This is legato, so you need quite a lot of strength here on the fingers. So See, I'm scratching off the string. I'm not leaving, I'm landing underneath it. Just to make sure that this note is pulled off properly. You could practice like... if you find that this finger is not very, I don't know, disciplined. Let me show the whole thing, and this whole thing lands to an E power chord. So it's 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. One more time. 3, 4, 1. As you see, this has a lot of variations. I mean, sometimes you might hit a rake like I did. You might get a pinch harmonic on the first note as well. It's not a problem. It still sounds cool. Ideally, what I've notated and what you want to try is like a normal note on the first one. And the pinch harmonic on the second. And what is that? This is like an A major to A sus4 fill. If you like it, you can think about it like that, or you can think that these notes all belong to A mixolydian. Either way works. If you want to think of the scale, the mode, or you want to think of an A major chord and right next to it it's sus4 alternative, it also works. So you have some sort of reference as to what this thing is. This is very common in the Van Halen world. Actually, very, very common. Now, this is all the first bit. I'm just going to play through once because we've got more stuff to cover. I'm going to play the whole thing until here at 65. So, 3, 4. There we go. Part B. Okay, part B of the riff. What happens here? We've got like a drum and bass thing going on with the guitar. The rhythm follows, all the instruments follow each other. Now this, because it has pretty much the same rhythm for the, like if you notice bars 9, 11, 13, and 15, they've got the same thing going on more or less. And this is this rhythm, which goes. That's how it sounds like if I play everything without a single fill, because everything has fills here. If you noticed on the very long chords, this is exactly where the fills are coming. So it's alternating between an E7 sharp 9 chord or your favorite Hendrix chord, definitely my favorite. What's that? Frets 7, 6, 7, 8, and we're at A, D, G, B strings. Obviously, we've got the E power chord here. I'm sure you all know that. And then this goes every other time. It goes to the A power chord or major. Like I said, you can choose. The only difference is that the last time the A is a little longer, and that's what would happen in a typical song. You know, you've got a repetitive thing going on at some point. If you want to create some more anticipation, you put a longer thing like lingering there, and then you build it up to something else. And this is what happens with the last fill. So what I'll do, I'll play with a click just this exact part without any of those fills, and I want you to imagine the lead fills on the very long gaps of the chords, but just so we know what the rhythm part sounds like. Because you know, if it feels too challenging, what I've written, or maybe if you want to put in your own fills, at least you know how much space in time you have to do those. All right, let's go again at 65. So 3, 4. And that's where it closes. Remember to count. What I did was count with my mouth. I don't know if you saw that. You can do it out loud if you want, obviously. Just trying to avoid playing and talking at the same time. Sometimes that happens. I tend to talk quite a bit. Right, so what happens here? The chords all come on beat 4, right? So we've got, every time that E7 sharp 9 or that A, they come in on the 4. So this is the last beat of bars 9, 11, 13, 15. I'm just gonna go ahead of all that, next to that, and play each fill separately. Now, what's the first fill? The first fill is an 8th note fill. This should be quite easy. It's very bluesy. It actually reminds me a bit of Jimmy Page style of playing. So it goes like, how does it fit in? So 3. If I think about bar 10, it goes like 1. So it comes in on beats 1 ends. This one comes with a slide from the chord below, so you can either pick it or you can just slide it from the chord, because remember, you're holding down E7 sharp 9, and this finger, this little finger 4 is on the right string, so you might as well. You either pick it like that, or I don't like to pick it, I can just slide it straight through, so. Feels more like a slide, feels more bluesy. So what's happening here? I've got fret 15. I mean, think of it as E blues. These are my notes. I've got 15 on the B string, 12 on the high E, again back to 15 on B string, and then I've got 15 on the G string with a semitone bent up. And I'm playing that 15 on the B string again, and I'm letting them ring together. This is a slow bend. So it goes from B flat to a B natural. So 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. You can play with pick or fingers. I like a combination of both, so I'm going pick, finger, pick again, pick, finger. Or you can go all pick, so. Kind of like it more with the fingers, so. Don't know, it sounds more attractive somehow. So this is fill number 1. Bluesy, very easy, 8th notes, comes on the 1 end. Lick or fill number 2 is the most technical part of this riff actually. This is on bar 12. Actually, I kind of want to leave that for a little later on because I want to go to bar 14, and the reason is because it's got exactly the same rhythm as what we just did. So it's again in 8th notes. If you look at bar 14, we've got again, a little fill starting on beats one end. And what's that doing now? This is... I think this reminds me of, you know, Jimmy Page type playing as well, I guess. So I've got a double stop again. This is frets 12, well, 13. It's actually 13 and 12 on strings G and B. And I'm only bending the G string. So from the 13th fret to the 14. Again, this is a slow bend and it's ringing out with a note above. So this is gonna be on beats one end. So I'm just gonna put it in with the chord before. So it goes 3. Let me do it right, that was a bit messy. So 3, 4. So these two fills that I just played are the ones that respond to the E7 sharp 9 chord. Yeah, so this is, I'm just gonna play them with the bars before them. So bars 9, 10, and bars 13, 14. I'm gonna play these two together. Just before I go ahead and do that, after the double stop, remember we've got 2 bends here. I'm repeating that 12th fret. And these 2 bends are staccato played. So you wanna try to play them with an upstroke. I think it helps to play them more staccato. So because the pick can stop the note underneath. And there's a vibrato as well. So right. I'll just stop talking now and play them at 65. I said it's gonna be bars 9, 10, and then 13, 14. Right, let me go ahead and do that. Two, 3, 4. Second one, 3, 4. One more time, 3, 4. These two now we've just covered. So we want to move on to the a little tougher ones. So what's happening here? I'm gonna go back to bar 12. Bar 12, like I said, is the most technical of all because it's got that finger tapping there. So what's happening is I'm just gonna show it slow and then break it down, but essentially it starts from the A. So I'm fingering this A chord and then I want to slide again with my 4th finger up to the 14th fret of the B string. Similar to what we did before, we did this with the 15th fret, but now I'm just going to go to the 14th. This time I'm probably going to need to pick because the sustain, I mean it's a long slide, so I don't know. You might be able to produce it, but I just feel like it's safer to pick it. Now what's that? This is again legato. So 14 to 10 to 14. And again underneath another hammer, 10 and 14 on the high E. So these are the same frets in both strings. And this is where the tapping finger comes in. Pretty symmetric as well. I've got 15, 14, 10, 15, 14, 10. You can think of that as a sextuplet, which it is, but it's kind of broken into a downbeat and an upbeat and a downbeat. So it's not straight, it's kind of in between the beats. And the whole thing until there goes. What you could probably saw me do is moving towards the bridge as I'm getting ready to tap. So I'm gonna pick that note, that 14th fret on the B. Oops. I'm already quite close here, I'm not back here. Unless you want to do a bigger jump later on, but you might as well get close. So and that's the last note. The last note, as you noticed, I'm not going to pick. There's not enough time, and you might start getting sounds from other strings while you're right here to tap. So this is a very common technique used for this style. You know, you do a left hand tap. So you need to come from a distance essentially, like, and your normal vibrato. Let me show that again slow, very slow. So. And what I'm also doing is I'm using my second finger on the right hand to lightly touch the B string. That's something that is kind of an essential thing to do if you're playing this style, because there's a lot of distortion, a lot of noise might come, and we're playing wide vibrato. So that, you know, you might get some unwanted noise from strings below. I mean, above we're okay because we're muting with our first finger, but below, you know, there's nothing to guard us. So what we do is we use this as if you were going to play it, you know, with the finger, but you're not doing anything. You're just holding it, and that gets rid of the noise. So let me show that at 65 so you can see how it fits in. Remember, tapping might look impressive. Sometimes it's actually quite easy to practice. The only thing you need to bear in mind is that you need to tap from a distance. Same thing with the left hand tap, because otherwise the note is going to be tiny. So you want to see your finger come from a distance and also scratch off the note. So like you would do with a pull off, you don't really go away, you pull the string down and then away. Same thing here. Or up, some people do it up. Whatever works for you. This is our fill. Let me play at 65. 3, 4. Actually it goes on 4, so 3, 4. Three, 4. Last time, 3, 4. Ah, no. 2, 3, 4. That's the one. We're getting there. Pretty good. This is a long riff as it looks. Feels quite longer now that we're breaking it down. I'm gonna go to bar 17. This is the very last fill. This is reminiscent of a little bit of Joe Satriani. This is maybe my favorite bits. No surprises here. So let me show that. What's it got? It's got, what's that? Up again on bar 17. This is like an E blues. Frets 2, 3 on the G, back, and then pull off to an open string. Then I'm adding the high E string. You can play that again now with pick or fingers. I tend to do a combination of both. So I'm doing pick, finger, pick. These two are both open strings. So I'm gonna play beats 1 and 2 of bar 17. 3, 4. 4. 4. or with a pick. Whatever you like. I'm going to beat 3, 4 of bar 17, and I'm gonna put together the whole thing actually, because now we've got a group of natural harmonics. And these ones are produced in frets 5 and 4 of the guitar in strings, in the 4 low strings. The way it sounds is again. Now these are D string, fret 5. This is a D note 2 octaves high. Then I'm on the A string, fret 4. This is a C sharp, 2 octaves high from this fret. Then I'm playing, I'm going to the G string on fret 5. Again, this is a G note, 2 octaves higher than the open string. So I've got this is a little thing to notice actually, that when you've got your first finger below the fret, you need to lift it to play this note, because you get it dampened, so you need to remember to lift this finger a bit when you go down to this G string to get a good tone. See, if I leave it here, it's not going to come out as nice. Again, fret 4, A string, that's a C sharp, then fret 5 of the A string. This is an A note, 2 octaves higher than the open string. And I'm doing the same, frets 4 and 5 on the low E string. That is a G sharp, 2 octaves high. You can remember the same note on the fret, on fret 4. And then 5, this is like the open string. This is again 2 octaves higher. If you want to remember it like a formula, if you play a natural harmonic on fret 5 of any string, you get the same note as the open string, 2 octaves high. And if you play a natural harmonic on fret 4 of any given string, you get a major third from the open string, but also 2 octaves high. So that's the thing that we've got here. It's It's 1, 2. And that's where the riff closes. We've got a power chord and E power chord. Let me put the whole thing, it's bars 17 and 18. It's gonna be 3, 4. Again, 3, 4. I want to play that with a click like the others, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'll do is I'll put the riff behind it, so the previous part where it's got the long A, I'll show it now, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And that finalizes the whole thing. This was hard work. Thank you for your focus already. I hope you've got lots of questions, or maybe not. I'm looking forward to those. Until then, I want to just play the whole thing in the 2 different speeds that we've got. I've got 2 more backing tracks for you, one at 100 and one at 120 BPM. Original, like I said, is 150. So let me just play through those, and then I'm getting ready to answer your questions. So let's go at 100 BPM, the whole thing. try 120. Okay, that was a bit messy, no worries. Let's play full speed. Okay, great. Thank you so much for watching and for your hard work. Let me know what you've got for me in the questions tab, and I'll be right back to answer the questions. That was week 1 for my live course, Riffs and Rhythm Playing. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for watching this week 1 of my modern rock riff, and thank you for your questions already. Okay, we've got a first question. If I'm using by Irene, hope I'm reading this right. If I'm using the bridge pickup for this, yes, I am. The reason being, it has this more aggressive tone, more rocky, and also I definitely need this for the natural harmonic. So if I use anything else, I mean, they're still coming out, but they're a bit muzzy. So definitely we want to use a bridge pickup for this. It's the authentic tone, and it brings out a lot more harmonics. Not only for the natural harmonics, but just in general, even for the double stops. Right? These things, they always bring out nicer in rock with a treble pickup. Great. Okay, got the next string. The next question. Please, Simone. I seem to always get strings ringing and all kinds of noises from my time when I use distortion. Do you have any tips to control? Yes. This is a challenging, subject in rock in general when you play with a lot of distortion. You need to think you need to think in a few different stages. Stage 1 is the right hand. The right hand always needs this thumb here to be touching the strings above the one you're playing. So if I'm playing on the B string, I need to make sure my thumb is laying onto the, E, A, D, G strings. I mean, you can use your palm, but this is only complementary. The thumb is very important for muting when you're not playing the strings. And even more important is the left hand. The left hand is crucial. I mean, the index finger is always needs to be lightly touching the string below. Again, anytime, I don't know if you can see that, I might need to bring it closer. Anytime you hit a note, the index finger needs to be lightly touching the string below. So even if I go to play it by mistake from the right hand, it's not going to sound. And of course, the lower you go now from the left hand, you want to make sure your thumb is also helping. But this is all 2 things. You've got your right thumb, you've got your index finger muting the string below, and you've got your left thumb occasionally helping with that if you're playing on the high strings. It's I mean, I recommend definitely practicing with distortion and loud so that you can hear your mistakes. And this is just for normal picking. If you're going to tap, I showed that in the lesson, remember, it's a good idea to have your whole arm, the right arm, laying on the strings that you are not tapping. So it's a combination of both hands. Generally speaking, just, you know, crank the distortion, practice a lot, and your ear will tell you, will guide you, and I mean, if you follow these two things for these hands, your ear will help you, because the more you hear the noise, the more you hate it, the more you get rid of it. Okay, I hope this helps. Now, how do you play a pinch harmonic? Yes, a pinch harmonic, again, good idea is to have the treble pickup, just to get the harmonic easier. And then you wanna, first of all, you wanna hold the pick in a way that your thumb is kind of in front of your index. Well, that's always the case, but you also want to make it diagonal. Your thumb, you want to make sure that it's hitting the string in a more diagonal way, because this way the string is going exactly into this node in between the pick and the thumb. Essentially, your thumb is finding the place where the harmonic is produced. It's as if it was playing it, as if I was playing it with the left hand, and then the pick is just picking the note. So let's see if we want to play, for example, this note, this A note on the D string, 7th fret. Where's the easiest harmonic we can get? We need to imagine 12 frets high, which is here, but this is not going to be a pinch one, so we need to think even further. We need to calculate sort of another 12 frets. Another 12 frets based on, you know, the fashion of the frets getting smaller would be around here. So this is where my thumb needs to lie, and then the pick right behind it to get this tone. You can even get it here. But no one will do that. You might as well do it with a tapped harmonic. So yeah, diagonal, the thumb is touching the string first, and then right behind it, to the right, is the pick. So thumb hits the note. If you notice, the more you move, the more harmonics you're gonna get. This depends on the number of frets, but you can do this in all strings. There's different one of those, and yeah, this is what you want to experiment with, the different positions of the thumb, pick right behind it. Can you tell us about your amp and guitar? Yeah, sure. This is an Elite Telecaster. It's just 22 frets. I rarely play 24s. I get confused. Then I've got my orange Rockabilly here. I've had it for a long time. This is another tube head I've got. I use it in gigs if I want to play stereo. But orange is my main amp. I use Roto Sounds 10s on this guitar. I mean, on every guitar. What else? These are the pickups this came with. They're the N4 noiseless pickups. So it works for me because I play rock and I can push the gain without getting too much noise, but still have this warmth of and this twang of the single coils. Yeah, great stuff. Well, anything else you want to ask? You know, you can find me in Jam Play channels, my own page, wherever you like. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.